The latest nonsense when it comes to Blue Origin, just like SpaceX, just like NASA, and just like all international space agencies, none of them have been in so-called deep space. There is no deep space. The world is flat, with the dome over us, the firmament, and all we have are actors playing the role on TV as space travelers. Nothing more than a movie. It's not even debatable that they're faking all these space missions. If you're truly awake, you'll understand. Let's get right to it. Beyond the fakery, when it comes to NASA, this is about signs and symbols with this video presentation. When it comes to Freemasonry, in the ancient practice of Masons conversing without the use of speech. And this is huge. And this is what, again, this video presentation is about. And starting off with Emily Calandrelli, a horrible actress. I mean, beyond pathetic. They're trying to pass off faking space as real. Give me a break. Let's first off get to the etymology of astronaut. Basically, astro means star, as many know, and the naut means sailor. So it basically means star sailor, but astronaut itself, when it comes to numerology, Chaldean to be specific, it is 33. A very important aspect to understand is the Chaldeans were ancient star worshippers. They are ancient astronomers. So how it all coincides with numerology and the stars and astronauts. It's all intertwined. And let's get right to it with the so-called garbage space mission. Let's get to it.
Ignition.
Tonight, a spectacular journey bringing us closer to the stars. Newest astronauts, heads still in the clouds, gushing about the journey of a lifetime.
See so much space, and I kept saying, like, that's our planet. That's our planet. It was.
And where are the tears? She's pretending to cry, and there are no tears. Typical crisis actor. Let's continue.
Same feeling I got when my kids were born, and I was like, that's my baby.
Emily Calandrelli, of Netflix and YouTube fame as Space Gal. Now, the 100th woman in space.
Space Gal, give me a break. Just an actress, like I said, hired to be part of this nonsense. And of course, a lot of people are willing to sell out fame, fortune, and whatnot. Let's continue on here with this faker in a very embarrassing scene. Horrible, horrible acting. Atrocious. Let's get right to it.
That's our planet. Oh my God, that's space.
Now take a look here. Now this gets back to signs and symbols. Very short scene, but sticking her tongue out. And again, the very bad acting. And of course, just like NASA with the serpent's tongue, the deceivers, the serpent never speaks the truth. And make no mistake about it, during this horrible, atrocious dialogue towards the end, she sticks her tongue well in a very mocking way. Make no mistake about it. I'll get more into that when it comes to the Bible verse and another astronaut doing the same momentarily. But take a look here. First off, when it comes to Isaiah 57:4, whom are you mocking? At whom do you sneer and stick out your tongue? Are you not a brood of rebels, the offspring of liars? So this is obviously mockery, just like with NASA. And that gets into another individual doing the same thing. A very short scene with this individual, and he does the same. Make no mistake about it, this is not a coincidence. Let's get right to it. Very short dialogue. Again, speaking without words. You see that? Make no mistake about it. Sticking out his tongue, just like you see here. And he only says a few words. I'm going to start from the very beginning of this short clip. It's very important to understand. This is only like a 4-second clip. They show this person during this part of the presentation. But he sticks out his tongue before he speaks.
There it is.
And that's it. That's all he says. There it is. We'll get to this goon in a second. But all he says is there it is while sticking out his tongue. Make no mistake about it. Just like Emily doing the same. These are serpents. These are liars. These are deceivers. And that gets into this goon that I just showed here doing the one-eye symbolism. He says nothing, but look what he does. There's no words. He does that ridiculous, stupid duck face before pulling up the crayons. Why would you bring crayons into so-called outer space during a mission? I'll explain why the crayons come into play here. But first off, you see him covering the right eye. And that's it. They just show him holding the crayons and covering the right eye. And one thing I want to be very clear about is the number 88 is present on the crayons. You see here 8 crayons and it says 88. We'll get into that momentarily. But more importantly, for now, when it comes to Jeff Bezos, who of course is behind Blue Origin, doing the same exact thing. This is not some amazing coincidence when it comes to Jeff Bezos, again, the head of Blue Origin. When it comes to Amazon, basically it's a Mason. You flip the Z around, basically an S. It's a Mason. And of course, covering that right eye, which I've shown so many times in previous presentations. This all has to do with the one-eyed Antichrist. Paying homage to the coming Antichrist. And again, when it comes to the tail itself, Satan's tail, when it comes to Amazon, and something else as well, as we know, the phallic symbol. So this is a dual symbolism when it comes to the arrow and Amazon or a Mason. So definitely these space fakers are mocking the masses with their tongues out. Once again, signs and symbols is everything when it comes to these deceivers. Now getting back, like I said, to the number 88 as shown here. Again, no grown adult's going to be crayons to so-called outer space. Don't tell me he's doing this for his son, his daughter, whatever. That's nonsense. These people are all about symbolism, once again, covering that right eye. And he says nothing. Okay? That gets to the number 88, which I explained before. You split the 88 in half, as I've shown many times in the past with the Grand Sovereign Commander when it comes to Freemasonry and the Dual 33. Basically, 88 is your Dual 33. And this is deviating a bit, but it's going to all add up in the end when it comes to our Masonically controlled world system. Just like when it comes to 9/11 and the tribute and lights. Not by chance or not by coincidence, with these lights in the sky, there are 88 powerful searchlights in the sky, reaching towards the heavens. And take a look here. When it comes to these news stories, Dylan Roof, going way back, which I've covered many years ago. And make no mistake about it, everything's by design with signs and symbols. He's a little bit to the right. We're in the 88 t-shirt. But look at the door. What do you see here? You see the double cross on the door. The double cross is to deceive or betray, mislead. Again, deceive. Always telling you without speaking. Signs and symbols is what they're all about, obviously. And a little bit closer look at the shirt itself in the 88. But again, getting back to the double cross, take a look here when it comes to this Masonic Lodge in Huntsville, Texas. What do you have here? With the signage, you have the double cross once again. And for those that think the 88 is just some coincidence, I'm pulling out of thin air. Take a look here when it comes to the whole Dylan Roof story. And you have the settlement for $88 million with the Justice Department when it comes to the Charleston Church. Of course, your CC for 33 with Charleston Church. And of course, the topic of Back to the Future, which I've covered many times in the past. You must go 88 miles per hour to time travel. And all the connections I've made over the years with Back to the Future 9/11, this is not by chance or coincidence. There are people in the know in Hollywood. They are privy to the script. And this is why you see Marty McFly, of course, MM for 30 with the dual ties with the sun symbolism, which represents the Twin Towers, of course. And from Back to the Future 2, with George McFly upside down, while they're watching a movie on the flat screen, you see the Twin Towers go up as the TV malfunctions. But from George McFly's perspective, the towers are coming down. So this is another Masonic type of duality of doing things in reverse. And obviously, this scene here, as they time travel, you see the store sign, the storefront sign, the number 9 with the arrow, and of course the 11 in flames. As I mentioned in my previous video, where it says town, but the T's kind of drown out, and the lights kind of look like the tribute of lights in New York. Kind of similar in a way, but nonetheless, with the T drowned out by the lights, you have OWN, or obviously in reverse, NWO, New World Order. Everything is by design, as you see here. Again, getting back to the number 88. And to conclude, when it comes to, again, the 88 itself, it's going to be crystal clear why this individual says nothing, but flashes the 88 covering the right eye once again. All a tribute to the one-eyed Antichrist, as I shown previously. And from the Bible verse from Zechariah 11:17, his arm will be totally withered and his right eye will be blind. So make no mistake about it. They're referring to the one-eyed Antichrist. And obviously, through signs and symbols, they're telling you who they worship. And that brings us back to this mocker sticking out his tongue with a surname with the wolf in it. And I know there's script writers for all these fake space missions. And you're going to hear the same words being spoken by this individual. Then you're going to hear Felix Baumgartner, as you see here, say basically the same words. Again, showing there are script writers for all this nonsense. Let's get right to it and take a listen to the words that are spoken.
You don't see the divisions. You don't see all of the lines that divide us. We're all one people. We're on this very fragile, small planet.
Well, when I was standing outside that capsule, it was a very quiet and peaceful moment. You know, at that moment, you look at the world, it looks very fragile.
It looks very fragile, and that's a topic that obviously has been brought up in both interviews. It's something they're pushing, obviously. And definitely, if you're awake, this is obvious what's taking place. There's no debate that they are faking space. These are nothing more than actors. If you can't see that, you are dead asleep.
John chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see. Now I can see.